Good morning, class. Today we're going to be reading The Moose Belongs to Me by Oliver Jeffers. This book is about Wilfred and his pet moose, Marcel. Marcel, his pet, is kind of like his best friend. Can any of you tell me a time where you've had a best friend? Okay, and has that best friend had any other friends that they've had while they were your best friend? Okay, and then how did that make you feel? Did that make you feel okay? Did it hurt your feelings? Okay, so it's not always a bad thing that your best friends have other friends. So we're going to see what happens in this book. The Moose Belongs to Me by Oliver Jeffers. Wilfred owned a moose. He hadn't always owned a moose. The moose came to him a while ago, and he just knew, that it was meant to be his. He thought he would call him Marcel. He began following Marcel, explaining the rules of how to be a good pet. Much of the time, it seemed as though the moose wasn't listening, but Wilfred knew he was, mostly because he followed Rule 4 very well, not making too much noise while Wilfred plays his record collection. Now, records are kind of like MP3s or CDs that play music. They're older, they're big, round, they're really flat. You should ask your parents about them. Sometimes, the moose wasn't a very good pet. He generally ignored Rule 7, going whichever way Wilfred wanted to go. The moose had a very good sense of direction, and Wilfred did not. And because the moose was particularly poor on Rule 7, subsection B, maintaining a certain proximity to home, Wilfred quickly learned to bring some string along on their outings so he could find the way back again. Sometimes, the moose was an excellent pet. He had no trouble with Rule 11, providing shelter from the rain. You see, he's helping Wilfred out when it's raining outside. Or Rule 16, knocking down things that are out of Wilfred's reach. And there he is, helping him get an apple. One day, as Wilfred discussed their plans for the coming year on a particularly long walk, he made a terrible discovery. What do you think it's going to be? Someone else thought she owned the moose. Rodrigo, you're back! Wilfred was dumbstruck. This moose was Marcel, not Rodrigo. The old lady was mistaken, and Wilfred thought it only proper that he corrected her. This moose belongs to me, he explained. And to prove it, he called Marcel. Heel. But the moose did not respond. He seemed more interested in the old lady. Good, Rodrigo. There she is, feeding him an apple. Do you think this would hurt your feelings? Or what do you think? Okay. Fine. Embarrassed and enraged, Wilfred rushed off for home. But in his haste, and miles from anywhere, he tripped over his string and got tangled up. And there he lay. Wilfred was beginning to get a little bit worried. It was getting late, and the monsters would be out soon. He had just ruled out the last of his options. Look at those options. Let's see. There's a bear, a penguin, a hammer, a saw, a shark with a saw head. I don't know what kind of options these are, but they don't really seem that smart. when along came the moose. And performed Rule 73 brilliantly, rescuing your owner from perilous situations. Perilous means dangerous. So let's say that word one time. Perilous, which means a dangerous situation. All was forgiven, and perhaps Wilfred admitted he'd never really owned the moose anyway. With that in mind, he and the moose reached a compromise. The moose would agree to all of Wilfred's rules. Whenever it suited him. Dominic, you're back. You brought me an apple. So do you think it's okay to have more than just one friend? Yeah, me too.